for Xbox and PC. But Josh, we're getting a little bit closer and striving to have a more regular patch cycle.
Right, yeah. I know over the past few months, we've been really working on getting the core of the game in place, and now we're at a great place in open beta, so we're moving towards a 3-week patch cycle.
Nice.
Sometimes it might be 2 weeks, sometimes it might be 4 weeks, but we're aiming for 3 weeks. And
precisely when it is ready.
Yes. And we're working on each patch containing content or map updates, new features, so it should be really exciting going forward.
It's just more practical.
That's epic.
And I don't think you'd want someone to throw you.
No, you wouldn't.
Seems so dangerous.
For transportation.
So we're not sieging a castle. That's been processed of elimination out. What's left? What else could we be using this for? Look at that red velvet cushion seat.
That's right. It's comfortable.
We got some bougie catapults.
If you're going to transport yourself, the answer is a catapult.
Wow.
You just got to be ready.
A bougie Da Vinci catapult.
A bougie Da Vinci catapult.
Catapult.
So we're in the catapult. My UI, my crosshair has changed a little bit here. What am I aiming at exactly?
Yeah, so the catapult turns around. It's a little slow, so you can get ahead of it, and then it'll turn out. It'll catch up to you. That's where you're gonna go when you launch the catapult.
So even if I'm actively spinning, my little vertical dot and 2 arrows, that's where I will.
That's where the catapult is aiming.
The directional indicator.
Sorry. Gotcha, yeah, okay.
Exactly.
So even if you are spinning, because it is a little bit restricted there.
That give you a nice route to somewhere else, so this Lumberfall one could get you into Fungal Jungle.
Sure.
Which has been slightly renamed.
You guys renamed it. I was going to say Fungal Jungle. Where the hell's that?
That's right. Now, when you get in this catapult, it is going to send you very high.
Okay.
So high, in fact, that you will begin to skydive again.
Well, shall we rock and roll?
I think we're
I
ready.
think it's time to rock and roll here, and there it is. I mean, the only natural reaction there to being catapulted high into the sky, so you're going to re-skydive and land. Can you pull up the map for us? Let's just see about how far you went. And that's X far. You will go that far every time. You can't aim yourself higher or lower. You can only change.
The vertical height is set. Okay. You have a little bit of air control, so you could go a little left, a little right, maybe a little further or a little shorter.
Sure.
And then some catapults will be at different elevations.
That's true.
So if you're at a higher location and you're going down, you're going to get some more range. But it does go pretty far.
In the game, just kind of analyzing them for different things. So the first thing we did was we adjusted what the rarities look like. You can see now this is the common rarity, which before was black and white. Common rarities now are kind of steel and blue and gray and not super glowy.
Sure.
They just look as you would think a common weapon would look.
Yep.
The uncommon weapons are green and bronze with green glowies. The epic weapons are kind of this magical icy metal with purple trim and purple glowies, and then the legendaries are the legendaries. We wanted that to be pretty consistent across all the weapons, and yet we also just polished them so we have cooler, nicer, crazy bell-shaped cone that made it feel blunderbussy.
Yeah.
And the shotgun, we also kind of wanted to get it a little bit more traditional, the top and bottom barrels, So we made a few structural adjustments to those objects as well. So
yeah, that was a case where the gameplay really felt right, but we wanted to make sure that the weapon and the gameplay were in sync.
Right, it looked like it was going to do the thing that it was doing.
Yeah, well, these two weapons have definitely hit the gym, and we've kind of navigated our way here. Any new treasures for us?
Well, you're going to find this forge, and it's built into the lake in a different sort of way, because we had this awesome ice lake, and really you didn't have a great reason to go into the center of it.
In fact, you had lots of reasons not to.
Yeah. But now the forge is
speaking,
there. You can defend it. There's this open ground around it, which is really interesting. And the forge space itself is different. And it's very intricate.
It feels that way, and it feels like it would be easy to kind of lock down and hold. There's a lot of walls. You can head up here, and as Chuck said before, tactically not the best position to be in before, but now with all this added fortification and of course the payoff of a forge. It used to be like out in that wooden building, right, on the edge of the lake. Now we're dead set center here in the middle.
We also had the forge that was the Ice Haven forge. We were also using in kind of multiple locations that same layout. So what we're trying to do is keep the forges from being the same.
And loot goblins.
Man, okay.
So
okay, cool.
That's where you're going to go to find this thing. It is very powerful.
Better pack a punch then.
Very exciting. And it provides some different gameplay from a lot of the other high-power weapons, which is cool.
Right. Okay, so what type of gameplay do we expect?
Well, and importantly, I think James's analogy, which is that, you know, a class having a class weapon, right, is like you're using a weapon that is designed for your class. You're getting the highest power level out of that.
You're building towards it, or you know, maybe you're dipping in and out of cover with like a longbow and arbalest.
Sure.
That's probably going to beat this.
Okay.
But when you're mid-range, you're able to consistently get that damage and land those shots. It's going to be pretty powerful.
Does have the added benefit of being hit scan, right? One of the more consistent weapon types, I think, you know, works really well, translates well on the console as well. This is a weapon that I think a lot of people can draw, you know, cross references to and be familiar with. You know what I mean? You can pick this up and just understand what you need to be doing with it and probably how this is going to function. And that ties into, you know, I think a lot of these weapons designs, Chuck. You were talking about the shotgun. We want to make it look like it does what it does. The slug rifle needs to look like it does what it does. And this LMG certainly looks like it does what it does.
Yes, with the big box clip and everything.
Turn you into Swiss cheese.
Another really great thing to look at, you can kind of see him doing the firing and reload animations and all that stuff. While we were doing this, we made a pass kind of on everything of really...
It's actually a mount emote, so it's going to be VM. It's a separate entry.
Okay, my bad.
And console players are going to be able to find that too by pressing left bumper on Xbox or L1 on PlayStation.
That's right.
The keybind for it there.
We wanted to make sure it was a different entry just so it's very clear that this exists, right? It's not some sort of hidden thing that you have to know to emote when you're on your mount. And so that those two things are sort of separate. This is tied directly to your mount.
That looks really good, man. I love that wolf. He's got the eye.
They've replaced the forge. They've continued to build out their structures, and now you've got this sort of cathedral-style forge with a bit of a different layout. That's the focal point of the crossing POI.
You know, I have to say, everyone's got their spot, right? Everyone feels a certain way about a certain POI. The crossing, when it was, you know, conceived in the very first iteration of it, wasn't a fan. But this place, I think, I don't know, I feel like it has evolved the most of any of the POIs, Chuck. Would you say that's true?
It's true.